DreAllDay.com.
Dre Baldwin, DreAllDay.com. I want to address this question of rap music, gangsta rap music. Of course, we know for years people have been saying some negative things about it, but there's some positive things that have come out of it. How do I look at it? How do I reconcile engaging with it and all of that, and where do I see it objectively? Trying to look at things objectively. So before I get into that, let me tell everybody I send out a daily motivation text every morning. If you want to stop dragging in your mornings, if you want to stop feeling like you don't have any energy, you want to stop feeling like you're so lackadaisical energy-wise throughout your day, especially when you start the day. We all know how you start is how you're going to finish. Then let me help you out with that problem. I guarantee it'll help you completely for free. Every single day I'll send a message straight to your phone to keep you focused, sharp, and on point. Text me at 305-384-6894. Numbers down below as well. Again, 305-384-6894. Free of charge. Just text me. You'll get my daily motivation every day. Now, rap music. Specifically, I'm talking about gangster rap music. All right, so personally, I've been listening to rap music, all kinds of rap music, since I was a very young child, since before I could even cross the street by myself. My parents, my dad's into music big. He plays music and listens to music. So he was listening to rap music before we even had gangster rap. So he was listening to stuff like Public Enemy, Poor Righteous Teachers, those kind of rappers who were, back before we had gangster rap, what we now call conscious rap, that was all the rap we had. Like, that was just rap. It was just rap, period, because there were no categories. It was just one kind of rap. It was a bunch of mostly black people, and they were rapping consciously, where they were rapping, but they were also, and they would talk about negative stuff that was happening, but they would talk about it in a way that was more constructive, like building and teaching. Like, you were getting educated if you were listening to somebody like Chuck D back in the day, or some of those other Professor X and those kind of people who were rapping back then. They were educating you and rapping at the same time. That was the only kind of rap we had. Then in the early 90s or late 80s, we got the gangster rappers came along. NWA was probably the first actual gangster rap, and they literally called themselves a gang. So that was the first gangster rap, and then Dr. Dre came out, and then the East Coast picked up on that, and they started doing the same thing with all the gangster rapping. But before that, and there were plenty of other groups that were on the more the conscious side, and then we got the two categories. You got gangster rap, and you got conscious rap. Now we got a lot of different kinds of rap these days. And the thing is, even when my dad was listening to that stuff, like, he was listening to gangster rap back when my mom would not like him playing it in the house, because she's like, I don't want the kids listening to that. I remember this group named Onyx that was from Southside Queens. They came out, and I had their tape. I was in 5th grade. I remember that. I was 10 years old. This group named Onyx, and they were rapping all kinds of, it was gangster rap, but it was very, very, very lewd, very violent, very misogynistic, very, any negative term you could think of. Onyx was doing it. And that on that first tape, it's called Back the Fuck Up. And I remember that album. And then we got a whole flood. In the 90s, we got a whole flood of gangster rapping. Now, the artists that most of you probably already know, even if they're not so active now, we all know who they are. And the thing is this. When people say, well, gangster rap music, well, people say, let me back up. Gangster rap music, just to be clear what it is. What is it? It's rappers rapping about negative things that go on in the neighborhood, and it can be misogynistic, meaning negative images of women. It is violent, negative images also towards men, and maybe even towards themselves. And it can be very, it's kind of like destructive, kind of the stuff that a lot of gangster rappers rap about. If you actually did it, it would make your community worse. It would make your life worse. It would make your family worse. It would hurt you. It might get you killed. It might get you put in jail. It would cost you a lot of money. It wouldn't help you. A lot of the stuff that gangster rappers rap about, if you went and did it, you'd be in a very bad situation. Now, we all understand that. Again, let me build this whole case up. Now, some people say, and many gangster rappers have said this, and people who are defending gangster rap will say things like, well, look, gangster rap is just like the news network for the hood. They say, well, we're like CNN, or we're like the NBC of the hood. We're just giving a news report on what's going on. What's going on is that people sell drugs, people kill each other, the cops come around here and harass us, people are dying. It's a terrible situation. So all I'm doing as a gangster rapper might say, is I'm just telling people in the rest of the world what's actually happening in the hood. That's the common defense that a lot of gangster rappers use. This is a flimsy defense, but it is a common defense that people repeat over and over again. I'm going to tell you why it's flimsy in a moment. Now, let's get the other side of the argument of people who attack it. There was this woman back in the days in the 90s named C. Dolores Tucker. She worked in government. I don't know what exactly position she held, but she would attack gangster rap all the time. And Tupac was a person who said her name in a few raps, dissing her because he didn't like the fact that she was coming after gangster rappers. And Tupac Tupac started as a conscious rapper. He was kind of conscious as a rapper, and then he was like entertaining / conscious, and then he became a gangster rapper once he started to kind of live out the roles that he was playing in a lot of those movies. But anyway, Tupac dissed her a few times because he didn't like the fact that she was coming after a lot of gangster rap. Anyway, the people who attack gangster rap say, well, look, these people are giving the same thing that I said, messages that are demeaning towards women, demeaning towards men. They are glorifying negative things like drug dealing and killing people and going to jail and disrespecting females and disrespecting each other. And they're glorifying these negative images and making money off of it. Now, there are many sides to this conversation, well, many different arguments that go underneath both of those sides. But there's the pro side and there's the anti side, right? I am kind of in the middle because I can see both sides and I can understand the value of both arguments. But I'm going to tell you where the actual middle is that makes the most sense, even for somebody like myself who listens to gangster rap music. I guess you call it gangster rap every day. I listen to at least one gangster rap song every single day. Now, the thing is this. First of all, is a gangster rapper just giving the news report to the world of what's happening in the hood? That's an okay argument. It's kind of flimsy at the same time, but it's kind of okay. But because listen, do these things happen? Do women get disrespected in the hood? Yes, they do. Do men get in fights and kill each other and attack each other and be negative towards each other? Yes, they are. Do cops come around there and do stuff that people probably prefer the cops not do? Absolutely. All of those things happen in the hood. So for a gangster rapper to say they're giving a report of what happens, they're not lying. That is a report of what happens in the neighborhood. However, let me get the other side of that. Just because it's happening in the hood doesn't mean you have to make music about it and make money off of it. And then, in a lot of gangster rappers, I would say do gangster rappers glorify this stuff? Yes, they glorify it. By glorify, let me be clear what I mean when I say glorify, is that they take it and they make it seem cool. And they put themselves out there, and this is something that all rappers emphasize, especially gangster rappers. Gangster rappers have always emphasized everything that I say is real. That I am a real gangster, I'm a real street person. I'm not even a rapper. I'm just a street person who happens to be a rapper. A lot of gangster rappers say that, even to this very day. They say that. On the song on Drake's album, the rapper, I don't even know who that is rapping. I think it's 21 Savage, but I think it's 21 Savage. He says the first verse, he says, street nigga, not a rapper. Now, a lot of rappers say that. I am not a rapper. I'm a street guy. I just happen to make music, so I can do something legit that can make me money. So they're letting everybody know. Everything that I say on my song, these are stuff that I have really done and I'm really doing in the streets and I really will do again. I just happen to be making music about it because that makes me money. So if you're going to say that, gangster rapper, then we have to agree that you're glorifying it. You're letting everybody know, I really do this. Listen to me say it. Buy my music. Come to my conference. Buy my merch. My concert rather, buy my merch, follow me on social media so I can tell you more about this gangsta lifestyle that I'm living, or so that you can buy into me as a person, and you're buying into me because of what I put in my music, which is I'm a street guy, I'll shoot you, I'll kill you, I'll disrespect women, and the phrases that gangsta rappers use towards women. And listen, let me be clear, I'm not standing here as some Bible thumper wagging my finger at it. I know the lyrics to these songs. I have used this language all the time. Not in professional settings, but I've used the language plenty of times, many times. Think in that language many times, but I have a filter where I know when to use it and when not, and how to use it and how not. So let's be honest when it comes to gangster rap. Are they glorifying negative images? Are gangster rappers putting out things and telling you that is real? Yes, they are. Now, gangster rappers say, I really do this. I'm real. I really did get shot. I really did sell drugs. I really am from the projects. I really would kill somebody. I really did kill somebody. If you listen to rappers, they killed everybody on all their records. I really did have no choice but to get into this gangster lifestyle. That's a lot of rappers use that as their shield. Like, I didn't have a choice but to do this. It's the only option I saw. So yeah, I sold drugs. Yeah, I got in the streets. Yeah, I did these negative things, and it made them a whole lot of money. So people are like, well, yeah, you made a whole lot of money off the back of promoting something that anybody else does it. Most of them are not going to make it. Most rappers who really did be in the streets and carry guns and do thug gangster stuff, most people who do that end up dead or in jail. Very few of them survive to make rap records about it and make money off of it. So even the ones who made it, the Jay-Z's, the 50 Cents, the people who actually made it out of that world and made money off of it, For every one of them, there's 1,000 who either died or are incarcerated right now, or died while incarcerated, doing the exact same thing that Jay-Z and 50 Cent were doing. Now, again, I'm not saying this as a negative thing. 50 Cent's my favorite rapper. He don't even rap no more. He's my favorite rapper. I think Jay-Z is the best rapper. So I like these people. I've spent a lot of money on those people's work. So I'm not saying this as I'm anti-rap. I love gangsta rap. I'm glad Jay-Z and 50 Cent exist. But at the same time, I can be objective enough to say most people who do what they did, if their music is to be believed, did not make it the way that they made it. So when they put that music out, what happens is you get a lot of people who listen to it, are influenced by it, and then they go out and try to live out some of what they hear in that music. And here's the filter, and here's the line that somebody like me has, and maybe you, where I'm able to enjoy it and tell you that I love Jay-Z's music, I love 50 Cent's music, but at the same time, I never went out and tried to deal drugs, I never tried to shoot anybody, and I never did anything that Jay-Z and 50 Cent rap about, at least the negative gangster street stuff. It's because, luckily enough for me, I had two parents at home growing up. I had good, what we call home training, and because of that, I had the intellect and the intelligence to be able to separate the message in the music of what a Tupac or a Big or a 50 Cent or Jay-Z says in their song. I can listen to it, like it, enjoy it, know the words and everything. At the same time, I know that I probably shouldn't go out and try to do what they're talking about, because that probably wouldn't be a good decision. That's because I have the intelligence, and also because I had good home training. I had strong adult influences around me growing up. So I can still listen to that shit all day. 50 Cent killed everybody on his album, but I'm not going to go try to kill anybody. Jay-Z sold all the drugs in the world, but I'm not going to go and try to sell drugs, even though according to him, he made a whole lot of money. He was still spending money from 88. I'm not going to go try and do that, because I can separate the entertainment message of the rapper from the influence should I go try and do it. Now, here's the challenge, and this is where you got to give some points to the people who are anti-gangster rap. They say, well, look, not everybody is like Dre, not everybody's like you, where we can listen to it and we can filter out the entertainment part and say, okay, that's a good line, it sounds great, but I'm not going to go try to shoot somebody like 50 Cent did. A lot of kids and a lot of young people are impressionable, and they don't have those influences around them. They're like the strong parental influences, or a strong adult around them, a strong male or female around them to tell them, hey, all right, here's the good way to be. You can listen to that, but don't go do it. They don't have anybody to model that for them, so they look around for an influence. They don't have a strong influence around them, so they put in the Jay-Z tape, they put in the 21 Savage, they put in the Lil Baby, they put in the Lil Wayne, and they hear what those guys say, and they're like, all right, this guy looks successful, he has money, he has attention, he's on billboards, he has nice cars, he has girls around him, this guy's happy, he looks like he's a success. I don't see any other successful males around me, and the ones I do, they're following what he's doing, so I might as well go do it too. Then they go do it, but they don't do it successfully. All right, they get in the street and they die like most people in the streets do. They get in the game hustling, and they go to jail like most people who hustle do. So that's the point that you must give to the other side of the argument of, hey, gangster rap is influencing people in a negative way. So here's where I think the compromise is when it comes to gangster rap, the pro and the anti sides of this. And there's many different directions we could go with this. You could write a whole book on this. I'm sure many people have. It's that it is not that gangster rap needs to go away. I don't want gangster rap to go away, because again, personally, gangster rap does not influence the type of stuff that I do business-wise today. My biggest, and this is something that I've done on my podcast. I've done 5 episodes on virtual mentors. 5 virtual mentors that I've done episodes on. Puff Daddy, 50 Cent, Jay-Z, Dame Dash, Michael Jordan. 4 out of those 5 are people from the hip-hop industry who have involved in what we would call gangster rap. Dame Dash and Puff don't rap. Well, Puff did rap, but they were executives, and who were their biggest artists? Biggie and Jay-Z, who are what? Gangster rappers. 50 Cent, gangster rapper. So those are huge influences on me, even though I played basketball. I only got one athlete in my virtual mentors, was Michael Jordan. And I always looked up to the hip-hop people simply because as an athlete, I didn't have to compete against all of you in order to make it. I only competed against guys who was like 6'3", 6'4", with long arms and 35, 40-inch vertical jumps with certain athletic genetic code. You had to have hit a genetic lottery to be in competition to be a pro athlete. So I'm only competing against this many people. But in the hip-hop world, you're competing against everybody, because there's no genetic lottery to become a rapper. All right, you just got to be able to do it. It's a much bigger pool of competition. I'm not saying it's easy, but it's a much larger pool of competition. Therefore, I never looked up to an athlete, because I'm like, well, the reason that an athlete can make a lot of money and get known and get to the career you got to is because if you wasn't 6'5", weren't 6'8", or you couldn't run fast and jump high genetically, you wouldn't have had a chance, no matter how hard you worked. And I'm an athlete, and I'm a guy whose whole brand is called work on your game, and I still say that about athletes, and sometimes athletes get mad when I say that, but it's the fucking truth. I didn't have to compete against everybody to become an athlete. I had to work hard. I had to compete against a lot of people, but not everybody. In hip-hop, you're competing against the whole world, because anybody could become, I could become a rapper if I wanted to. No, there's nothing stopping me. My height or my weight or none of that is going to stop me becoming a rapper. Like Big probably couldn't touch the net in basketball, but he was a great rapper, right? So the thing is, I'm a big fan of gangsta rap. I will continue to listen to it. I'll keep listening to it. If and when I have kids, my kids will listen to it. But they're going to have the home training to understand that there's a line between the two. So what I believe needs to happen is gangsta rap can still have its place. The thing is, culturally, see, it's not that we need to go on strike against the record labels, or we need to tell rappers to stop rapping about what they rap about, or that we need to boycott certain rappers because they're rapping about drugs and guns, and then kids are going out and doing drugs and guns. No, we don't need to do any of that. Let rappers keep doing whatever they want to do. All right, we're not going to make Jay-Z's not all of a sudden going to become a conscious rapper or someone who's current right now. 21 Savage, Lil Baby, whatever these new people are. They're not going to go out and all of a sudden just become conscious rappers rapping about going to school and getting educated. They're not going to do that. They're going to rap about what is making them money. Human beings are driven by incentives. All right, they're driven by incentives, and the incentive is, if I was becoming a rapper and somebody said, Dre, your goal is to make as much money as possible in 1 year as a rapper, you know what I'm going to rap about? I'm going to rap about bitches and hoes, killing niggas, shooting people, dealing drugs, making a whole lot of money, doing drugs, strippers, late nights, late mornings. I'm going to rap about the kind of stuff that Future and Drake and Jay-Z and all those guys made a whole bunch of money rapping about. Why? Because people buy it. That's what I would do. If I wanted to make a whole lot of money as a rapper, that's exactly what I would do. Now, I don't want to be a rapper, so I'm not going to do that. But if I was, I completely understand any rapper who's listening to this right now if you go out and do that, because, shit, that's what people are paying for. Now, if people's tastes change, then they would change. People respond to incentives. You cannot moralize and just beat somebody down with your morals and tell them why they're wrong for rapping about something. Then all of a sudden, they're just going to change what they're doing just to appease you. That's not going to happen. What needs to happen is the rappers keep doing what they're doing, and culturally. Cultural means what's happening in everybody's home, what's happening in your mind, what's happening at school, what's happening in your community. There's a culture everywhere. Every human being, you have a personal culture. I got an episode on what is your culture on my podcast. Your personal culture, your family culture, your school culture, your business culture, your community culture, your relationship has a culture. Those cultures in small pockets, they need to influence the young people around them so that they can, if you want to listen to it, but understand that there's a separation between you listening to it and enjoying it and then being influenced by it and thinking you need to go do it. Just like it was in my home, that culture was there to where I could listen to it but not try to go do it. Now, if there's a home where that culture is not there and that kid grows up to try to go do it, that's not the rapper's fault. That is the culture's fault. Where's the parents at? Where was the mom at? Where was the father at? Who was supposed to be raising this kid who didn't raise him, and then he got raised by a mixtape, and now he goes out and try to live out the mixtape, now he's dead. Now he's in jail doing 25 years for doing something that he heard on a rapper's song. It's not the rapper's fault for rapping about it. It is the family's fault and the culture, the community's fault for not raising that kid the right way. That's the way that I see it. And why is this? Because there is no utopian society outcome that we're going to create. Thomas Sowell, who's an author, many of you probably have heard of him. If you haven't, you should go look him up. His last name is Sowell. Black guy. He's like 90 years old. He's written like 30 books. Great author. And one of the things that Thomas Sowell says all the time that I took from him is that there are no perfect outcomes, there are only trade-offs. So there is no utopian way that we can eliminate this, add this, change that, and everything is just perfect. That will never happen. And we got a lot of people in politics who talk as if they're going to create some perfect society. We just got to keep changing this. That will never happen. What we need to do is look at things as they are and figure out, how do we work with this situation? Yes, there are things that can be worked on. I mean, again, my brand is called Work On Your Game, but at the same time, understanding what the situation is. Situation is, there will be gangster rappers because people buy gangster rap. I'm not going to influence the whole world with this video right here. There are some parents or some listeners of gangster rap who listen to this right now are going to say, Dre, that makes sense. I'm going to change the way that I think about and listen to this music. I'm going to change the way I let my kids listen to this. I'm going to change the conversation I have with young people about what I hear on the songs because you heard what I said right here. But the whole world is not going to do that. Some people are going to say, fuck this dude. He's criticizing gangster rap, even though I am, but at the same time, I'm also applauding it. Not everybody's going to be influenced by this. Some people will. And it's each individual has to make a choice about their own personal culture of your family, your business, your life, and yourself on what you allow to influence you and what you don't allow to influence you. It is not the rapper's fault for doing what they do. It is your fault for allowing it to influence you. It's kind of like if you want people to be more, more pure when it comes to sexuality. We're not going to ban the pornography industry. It's not the porn actors' fault for making porn videos. If you find yourself addicted to pornography, it's your fault because you keep watching that shit. If you just stop watching it, then it could not affect you the same way. So it is not their fault for existing. It's your fault for buying into it. It's like if you're an alcoholic or you got lung cancer for smoking cigarettes, it's not alcohol's fault for being in the store in that cooler, and it's not cigarettes' fault for being behind the counter at CVS. It is your fault because you keep going to the fucking store and you keep buying that shit. So don't blame them for existing. Blame you for not having the willpower and the discipline to learn to use it as it needs to be used and stay away from it when you need to stay away from it. So all that being said, I need to eat dinner and I got a coaching call in a minute. So get my free book. This is called The Third Day, The Decision That Separates the Pros from the Amateurs. You know what this book is going to help you do? It's going to help you stay away from the things that you know you need to stay away from. It's going to make sure that you show up to the stuff that you need to show up for so that you can be the best version of yourself in your life, and you are not out here making excuses and blaming elements for existing when it's not the element's fault. It is your fault for not knowing how to control your urges and have the willpower to stay away from the wrong things and the strategy. Well, this book is not about willpower. This book is about having a strategy in place so that you don't need to use willpower to stay away from the stuff that is not going to help you anyway. Get this book for free by going to thirddaybook.com. And make sure you text me so you can get my daily motivation text every day. That'll also help keep you on point. 305-384-6894. Work when you're game. Dre all